So before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm currently seated on the land of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh nations. Many of you are on the land of other nations, and so if you are, I invite you to post those nation names in the chat. Always let us remember a connection to our siblings in these nations and work and pray for the day in which we might be together in right relationship. Now, welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome here. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own home. Please bring who you are in with you to this community today. But what you are asked to remember is that the others here today have brought who they are into this community as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. So unfortunately, we don't have Bruce and Cheryl with us today, but we are, in their absence, going to play our traditional opening song.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, for you've broken your vows of thousand times over. Ours is your cares and thousand despairs. Come yet again, come. Come, whoever you are, you've broken your vows of thousand times over. Ours is your cares and ours despairs. Come yet again, come.
So now I'm going to share some announcements. So we have a few today. First of all, just a reminder that our Circle of Sanctuary, which usually takes place on the second and fourth Saturdays of each month, is on hold for the summer, but that will start up again in September. So you're welcome to join us then. It's at the same time and same link as the services. And then on Wednesday, August 12th at 6 p.m., the Vancouver Holocaust Education Center and the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs invite you to join author Mark Sy as he presents his new book called The Manila Poker Club, which is about late night poker games in the Philippines designed to protect Jewish refugees from Hitler's Gestapo. The venue is still to be announced, but you can RSVP, and if so, you will receive the actual location of the event here in Vancouver. And then on Saturday, August 29th, from 10 a.m. to noon, we're going to be meeting in person in the Fireside Room at the Center for Peace here in Vancouver. And we're going to connect over the full moon 2 days prior at an event called Calling in the Light, Connecting with the Power of the Full Moon. So for those who want to participate, you're invited to view the full moon and partial lunar eclipse that's happening at 9:12 p.m. in Vancouver. And those who do so are invited to leave out a stone overnight to bask in the glow of the full moon and bring that with you to the event because we're going to engage together in some ritual and meditation and reflection on what it means to experience shadows, but also to call in the light together. So you can register for that at the link here, and that's free. Should be a special kind of contemplative time together. And then coming up, we'll have more information out on this soon, but starting September 15th through November 24th on Tuesday evenings from 7:30 to 9 p.m., we're going to be offering a Settler Accountability Book Club. So we'll be reading and discussing a book called Settler and Colonialism, which you can view here. And it's a book that was recommended at a conference I attended by Harvey Eagle, who's an Indigenous cultural safety and humility specialist. And if you are already gung-ho and want to get registered, I'll put a registration link in the chat. But there will be more information coming out in our upcoming newsletter as well. And we'll be meeting here at the same link as the Zoom link as the service. Yeah, but keep an eye out for more info on that. And then finally, on Saturday, September 23rd, from 7 to 9 p.m., the Metro Vancouver Alliance invites you to join community organizers from faith groups, unions, and nonprofits at St. Andrew's Wesley United Church in Vancouver. They've been working together with 4 key campaign proposals related to affordable housing, safe and livable communities, and jobs for youth that involve expanding our tree canopy. And so they're going to be calling on mayoral candidates to take these proposals into consideration and to support them. So I'll put the link for that in the chat. And are there any other announcements this morning? Okay. So if not, I'll invite you all to come together and join me in our opening prayer. This is Ode to the Apple Tree by Pablo Neruda. You, apple, are the object of my praise. I want to fill my mouth with your name. I want to eat you whole. You are always fresh, like nothing and nobody. You have always just fallen from paradise, dawn's rosy cheek, full and perfect. Compared to you, the fruits of the earth are so awkward, bunchy grapes, muted mangoes, bony plums, and submerged figs. You are pure balm, fragrant bread, the cheese of all that flowers. When we bite into your round innocence, we too regress for a moment to the state of the newborn. There is still some apple in us all. I want total abundance, your family multiplied. I want a city, a republic, a Mississippi River of apples. And I want to see gathered on its banks the world's entire population, united and reunited in the simplest act we know. I want us to bite into an apple. And then for our candle lighting prayer, I'll read Little Gidding, which is from the Four Quartets by T.S. Eliot. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown, remembered gate, when the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning, at the source of the longest river, the voice of the hidden waterfall, and the children in the apple tree, not known because not looked for, but heard, half heard, in the stillness between the 2 waves of the sea. Quick now, here now, always, a condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything. And all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, when the tongue of flame are enfolded into the crown not of fire, and the fire and the rose are one. Now, please feel free to unmute yourselves and offer each other a sign of peace. Peace, everyone.
Peace be with you.
Peace, my friends.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace, friend.
Peace.
Peace, my dears.
So now I'm going to turn it over to DoraLi for our next song.
Thank you. Without Bruce and Cheryl here, I wanted to just reach out, how we're going to do music this week. We've been doing recordings, but I reached out to a good friend of mine who's a song leader, and she gathers people together who want to sing without instruments. and lead song groups. And so she sent me a few songs. And so I talked with Kathy this morning. I'm going to bravely try to lead song this morning. So I have three of them we have chosen. And so let me pull one up here. They're very simple. It's just we repeat the songs together. I have everyone muted, so just sing it out in your own home. But I'll start with the tune, and then when you feel like you've got it, then you can join in, and we'll just go through 3 or 4 or 5 times until it kind of feels like the right amount of energy this morning. So this is this lovely song, Sweet, Sweet Song by Lauren Arrow. Sweet, sweet song, sing your truth. Let it flow, flow through you. Sweet, sweet song, sing your truth. Let it flow, flow through you. Sweet, sweet song, sing your truth. Let it flow, flow through you. One more time. Sweet, sweet song, sing your truth. Let it out. Let it flow, flow through you. Back to you, Rachel.
That was beautiful, DoraLi. Thank you for leading us in that. Lovely. So now I'm going to invite you to join me in reading our joint affirmation. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek. And let it begin here. So now I'll invite you to join me in a time of meditation and prayer. So just find a comfortable seat. Maybe you want to put your legs on the ground, your feet on the ground. Maybe you want to cross your legs, straighten your spine so you're sitting straight but comfortably. Just kind of feel into the air around you. Is it cool? Is it warm? Take a deep breath with me into your nose. Hold it for a few seconds and release it out through your mouth. And again, into your nose. Hold it for a few seconds and release it out through your mouth. And again, into your nose. Hold it for a few seconds and release it out through your mouth. And as you settle into your seat, into the environment where you are, maybe you become more aware of this air we've just breathed together and how it's given to us by the trees, by our plants and gardens, and that reciprocal relationship we have with the plants we tend in our gardens, the love that we give and that is returned to us through these beautiful beings, and the fruit that they give us, and the seeds that they scatter, and the animals they nourish, not just ourselves, but others too. And how they're rooted and keep us rooted into our own ecosystem where we're at home and together. And I invite you now to pray in silence for any beloved beings in your life or anything that's weighing on your heart this morning. Welcome back. Now, DoraLi is going to lead us in another song.
That's right. Rachel, the two poems you chose this morning were so good. It really, this one song particularly connects with the, oh, what does that say? Does that say Sweet, Sweet Summer? Can you guys see that? No, it says Put Your Roots Down. Great. Okay. This one has a little more energy to it. You can feel your body moving through this one. The three different parts have slightly different tunes, so it's not like the last song where it's repetitive. So I'll sing it on through. Feel free to join in whenever you feel ready. Even if it's not quite right, saying the words, moving your body, clap along, if whatever feels good to you this morning. So put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. Put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. 'Cause the sound of the river as it moves across the stones is the same sound as the blood in your body as it moves across your bones. Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. Put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. 'Cause the sound of the river as it moves across the stones is the same sound as the blood in your body as it moves across your bones. Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. Put your roots down, put your feet on the ground. You can hear what she says if you listen. 'Cause the sound of the river as it moves across the stones is the same sounds as the blood in your body as it moves across your bones. Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? That great song is by a woman named Molly Hartwell from the eastern part of the United States.
So beautiful,
Right.
DoraLi. Thank you. I love the singing together a cappella. It's so beautiful. Now, this is the time where we invite all of you to participate in growing our community. Many of you already do. You show up, you contribute time and creativity and talents and finances. We have very small budget that just basically pays for our wonderful interim managing director, Amy, and our small staff of musicians. And DoraLi and I receive a small stipend. So anything that you contribute is welcome. No amount is too small. And I'll put that link in the chat. And then we'll come together for another song, which I'll play. It's our traditional mid-service song. So this is a recording from Bruce and Cheryl.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
So now it is my great joy and honor to introduce today's speaker, who many of you already know and love, Reverend DoraLi Harrison, who is my co-minister of the Living Interfaith Sanctuary and has been involved since its inception in supporting the activities of this interfaith worship community. She currently lives in Vancouver, where she works as an interfaith spiritual care practitioner on a palliative care team, providing spiritual and emotional support to individuals and families navigating serious illness, end of life, and bereavement. DoraLi is also an artist and a mother. She earned her master's degree from the Vancouver School of Theology and a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Emily Carr University. She finds deep nourishment from time among the trees and floating in wild waters. So welcome, DoraLi.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. It's good to be here. I was reflecting on all the years that I've been part of the sanctuary that I've never been the one speaking. I've never given the service before at this portion. I've always been on the supporting side of things. So it's a delight here to be able to speak about the abundance, wisdom of abundance and deep summer and old apple trees. Um, yeah, just to orient ourselves, then, we're in the midst of when we talk about maybe the wheel of the year, we have our great solstices and equinoxes, and we're now in this kind of, halfway point between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. For many places in the Northern Hemisphere, this kind of marks the kind of like vibrancy of harvest seasons and foods coming to fruition or things that have been harvested and are starting to be processed. And so we're here in the deep, deep summer, and the fruit trees across our lands, they're getting heavy, they're getting full with fruit, preparing to pass over their abundance in this kind of ancient ritual of gift giving. So been reflecting on these things a lot, and this kind of culmination of these themes together in our deep summer conversation here. I'm right now sitting in the kitchen of our family cabin in near Marble Mount, Washington, which is on the lands of the Upper Skagit and Sauk Seattle Indian tribes, who for thousands of years, these predecessors of these indigenous peoples had permanent villages established along the riverfronts of these, the Skagit River, the Cascade River. And when we talk about abundance, the Pacific Northwest is known for that, the abundance of fishing, hunting, gathering of wild foods, berry season, the wild crabapple that is part of the kind of indigenous food source too. So just reflecting again on abundance in that way. But our own piece of land here along the Cascade River was cleared as a small farm by settlers almost 100 years ago. And when our family came to know this place about a decade ago, it was some of the old apple trees on the property that opened my spirit to a sense of connection here. And I wanted to speak about those today. So when I came here yesterday, I drove down from Vancouver. It's these beautiful deep summer days. It's my routine to go walk around the property and check in on the apple trees and how are things going. They're not quite ready for harvest. Mostly, I did find one off the transparent apple tree, which is this beautiful white fruit. It's very soft. That I reached up to touch it and just fell into my hand. I say, okay, you're ready. You're ready. But it's usually the deer, it's the bears that kind of alert me to their ripeness when the time comes. The branches are getting heavy, but the fruits are still not quite full. But over the past 9 years, getting to know these trees and the ways that their trunks are marked by decades of woodpecker activity. They're very well marked. And then there were years before we came here when the branches grew very tall, so the trees are quite oversized when they were unattended. But right now in this deep summer moment, it's a perfect time, I think, to reflect on what does abundance, the spiritual teachings around abundance and our relationship with the kind of fruits of the earth, represent for us. So just to orient as well, like landing in my, who am I, my own spiritual identity, and what the journey has been for myself. I grew up in my family traditions steeped in the Baha'i faith, and also Christianity was around. And these were the foundations of my life as I grew. But over time and circumstance, I felt the call for a different kind of shape to how I would know and understand the mystery of the of creation, how my relationship with the divine was going to be expressed. And that journey, some of the deepest moments of change in that journey came when I was in the deep abundance of pregnancy and early years of motherhood, raising my children, also in times of deep loss and processing changes that came through my life throughout the years. I'm sure all of you have these stories too, in different ways. But I had so many questions, especially through those times of pregnancy and motherhood, questions for the mystery, as I was trying to express, the experiences I was having as a mother and as a sensitive spirit. How could I understand the way I felt so overcome by emotion, by something untangible, when I would have my daughter's cheeks in my hands and looking at her beautiful face looking up at me, or the joyful voices of my children as they came pouring out of them when they were in relationship to something full-heartedly. Like, why was I so moved by this, in the kind of deep protectiveness and the pleasure of feeding them and wanting their bodies to grow and for them to be whole and happy? Like, what is that experience like emerging for me that I can't even contain it? And over the years, bringing my children to riverside places and forests, and just marveling at the way that their connection was so immediate, and they just felt so easily into play, into exploring, into like a bodily relationship, a knowing, a curiosity. Just they were so swept up, and I would be so swept up by that profound connection to that kind of overflowing of creation. So I was questioning and seeking for myself, the places where I belong. Like, how do I find within the language of the spirituality of the world, the places that feel of that ease of my heart, the joy, that sense of connection to the divine. And I eventually found my way to this riverside, apple-laden place here, our place here in Washington. Um, as quite a great gift on this path of discovery and of seeking. So I would say too that my spiritual life has been shaped by the experience of abundance, being part of the Living Interfaith Sanctuary. I mean, it's been a delight to experience the abundance of belief, of story, of wisdom that we find in the world of interfaith. There's this kind of profound experience of this wisdom, year after year, or speaker after speaker, and learning this kind of like, there is plenty for all my children. This is the gift. This is the language of that I experience in nature, the experience in connecting with other people of other traditions, is that there is abundance for all of you. Take what you need. And that path of discernment, I think, helped me understand that, my particular seeking of the mystery and my direct experience of the divine is really framed through the experiences of nature and of the great mother. And I think that term, the mother, will come back to. But even driving through the city in Vancouver, maybe places that you can always tell where the old apple trees stand. The kind of the gutters, alleyways, the yards are filled with the kind of ignored, falling, rotting fruit, that are feeding the tiniest creatures that are going to return that nutrients back into the earth for another year of abundance. So abundance, what does it even mean to us? Abundance evokes feelings of like plenitude and more than enough and ampleness. And when we talk about ampleness of food, it's such a kind of challenging reflection, I feel, because when we think about the global population and what is food scarcity, that there are more than enough calories of food produced on this planet to feed well every single body that lives here and walks the earth, even 8 point whatever billion of us. That is demonstrated through the numbers and the calculations of how much food and where. And yet 8% of the world's population are deprived of enough. That deprivation, we know, is directly because of war, of conflict, of armed violence that deprive people of access to food. 85% of people facing hunger crisis live in conflict affected countries. Climate change is another factor, food loss because of great storms, fires, rising sea levels, changes in temperatures across the planet. All of these pieces that are quite tragic, knowing that our planet is producing plenty of food in other places and other ways. But the latest UN Hunger Hotspots report highlights, I'm going to name these countries as I think it's important to know when I sit here in my place of abundance and dream of the apples that are falling from my tree soon, that in Haiti and Mali and Sudan and South Sudan and the occupied Palestinian territories, these are the hungriest places in the world, especially affecting women and children. They are the highest risk of food shortage. How must the mother ache knowing that there is food enough for all, and yet power, which is held by the few, disconnects and deprives so many from that abundance. So just to sit with that and feel that for a moment, when knowing there is enough. I turned often to one of my, I guess, spiritual wisdom people, even though I've never met her, Robin Wall Kimmerer, who is a botanist, an author, and a mother. She's a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation from the eastern part of the United States. She's written some very beautiful books about caring and reciprocity and Indigenous teachings around abundance and relationship. But one of her books recently wrote called Serviceberry, Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. She reflects on this kind of ethic of reciprocity and this idea of a gift economy. Really she spends time observing how like our economy, we can all say this with truth, and this isn't a contentious thought, but our economy is rooted in ideas of scarcity and competition, the kind of hoarding of resources. And we've really surrendered a lot of our values, I think, to the system, which is the force and power that really actively harms for many of us, with the spirit of abundance and the spirit of giving and community that we are so, leaning into in our faith groups and this community. That economy form really harms what we love. Meanwhile, the apple tree's relationship with the natural world is like an embodiment of that reciprocity and interconnectedness and gratitude. Robin Wall Kimmerer talks about the distribution of wealth through these plants or food. It's abundance of fruit. It meets the needs of its natural community with no thought to it. And the natural world runs on the idea of a gift economy, that there's enough. She talks about how also that receiving the gifts of these abundance carries a responsibility, which isn't a payment. When we talk about a responsibility as receivers of the gifts of this, the food that the world creates, the planet creates, the mother creates, that we don't have a responsibility to pay something, but rather to participate in the gift economy, to make sure that we are moving the energy of that gift through us and forward, not to hoard the abundance of the earth. She says that failing to show gratitude even dishonors the gift. So in what ways in our life, when we are participating in receiving of food and shopping at the store and all of these things, might we understand still we are participants in this greater gift economy of the food and resource that moves through our planet? And how much do we take for granted? And I speak honestly to this, for the gifts from the mother. Anytime I'm walking into the grocery store, mid-February to pick up some apples for my kids, I know that I've lost track of that summer wisdom, of that overflowing abundance and gifts. I don't have a sense of that gratitude necessarily in the way that I'm feeling it right now when I can walk out to the tree to see where apples come from. But what does that mean? How does that kind of sense of being like almost an oblivious teen who's, like, okay, mom, whatever, you and your hard efforts of life and love pouring out on me, how do we lose track of that when we are disconnected from the processes, or not even just aware of in that moment, the way that our food production is still moving through us? And I think in part that comes to the awareness of the gratitude of who produces our food and the hard work. And Kathy speaking to the idea of like the work that immigrants and migrants, especially living in North America, are particularly involved in the production of food, and the impact of again, powers and economies that are charging and challenging their ability to feel safe and stable in their own lives. So all of these things are interwoven as the mother continues to pour food out to her children, who are at times so confused and so lost and so disconnected from these gifts. So here we are within this place of relationship. James Vukolech, an Anishinaabe linguist, teaches that the plant gifts are manifestations of unconditional love that plants have for people. What a thing to hold that. He writes, plants offer what they have to whomever needs it, saint and sinner alike. When the apples are ready, it could be a deer, it could be DoraLi, it could be a bear, a bug rotting on the ground. All are just fine recipients. This is the genius of that orchestration of sun and soil, pollinators, of the human hand that planted those apple trees many, many years ago, of the seasons, and at the core of that is that sheer mystery of creation. Everything conspiring towards preparing and receiving those gifts from the mother. It's so interesting, this word mother, and I really have been taking that in as I've been preparing for this talk today and thinking of why and not just in the kind of group of people that I'm in, but the kind of language of so many is that we call the earth mother, not because she's female, but because motherhood is that deep experience of self-giving love, the pregnancy, the nourishment, the milk that the body makes. My child, I made this for you. Take, eat. It's an astonishing depletion of a body to form another human, of the material nature of your own body, the body literally becoming another body, and then nursing a child. Milk isn't manufactured for profit in the nursing parent's body. It's produced because that love and compulsion towards keeping life alive overflows. Supply is responsive to the demands. The more I feed my baby, the more my body will make. This is abundance. This is what it's like as a human walking this planet, as a gift from the mother. Take, child, eat. I've made plenty for you. Can you feel this? I hope we can kind of hold this together in this space. There's a beautiful quote from William Blake. We are put on earth for a little space that we might bear the beams of love. So here we are, not in deep winter, but in the traditions of like deep summer right now. But in some traditions in the world, particularly in parts of England, there is this beautiful tradition called wassailing, where people would go out into the orchards of the trees, of the apple trees, the fruit trees, and sing to them. They'd make a ruckus, they'd disperse negative energies. This is calling in the spirit of the trees to know that they are loved and they are cared for. To prepare the abundance for the year ahead. And I was just been thinking about this act of wassailing and thinking about consuming food. My apple here that is fallen from my tree. That's this act of being conscious and aware of where our food is coming from and the gifts that our earth is giving us. So inspired by an old wassailing chant that I found online that was recorded in the 1970s by Sam Richards and Tish Stubbs. I put together my own little wassail, so I'm gonna pour it out to you all. So this is, take this into your heart and maybe pour it out forward, a version of this into your own summer days of abundance. So imagine we're standing in front of the old apple trees. They're right now heavy with fruit, the smell of the earth and the soft grass that always seems to grow up under apple trees, particularly. The softness of that grass is so particular. And lets our hearts open up. Old apple tree, we have come to sing to thee. Deep summer joy, what have we done for thee? Hats full, caps full, overflowing bags full, we stand in awe of thee. So merry let us be, and shout to the old apple tree, hip, hip, hooray to thee. Thank you. May you be nourished by the outpouring of Mother's abundance. May you feel the love of creation in your body as you take your bites of apple and plum and nectarine and apricot. This is the season to feel it and take in the belovedness of you as a child of this mother. Oh, yes, I have one little thing here too. The last few lines. Oh, never mind. I'm going to pass that. I'll pause there. That's good. My friends, that's the end of the abundance for now. Let's keep talking.
It's so beautiful, DoraLi. Thank you so much. I feel very nourished, and I haven't even taken a bite of an apple yet. So, um, DoraLi has one more song for us, and then we will close out with a prayer.
Sorry, I had to pull up the last slide here. Okay. All right, another short one. It's just on repeat. Let this one kind of come into you as we sing it together. Sweet, sweet summer, gently whispers the wind. Sweet, sweet summer, let the goodness in. Sweet, sweet summer, gently whispers the wind. Sweet, sweet summer, let the goodness in. Sweet, sweet summer, gently whispers the wind. Sweet, sweet summer, let the goodness in.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, DoraLi. Now, please join me for a closing prayer, and then those who could stay after, please feel free to do so and ask DoraLi any questions that you might have following today's talk. Spirit of life, of abundance, thank you for the many plants and trees that the earth provides, that nourish us, that give us life, air to breathe, enjoyment, delicious food. Help us not to take these things for granted, but to nourish them back in return and to learn from them the importance of generosity and reciprocity and abundance. Help us to carry these lessons forward into our lives and enhance the sweetness of the summer for ourselves and for everyone around us. May it be so.